What's happening, fam? L.A.R. moving, still moving. Subscribe or die trying. You see the thumbnail, man. Monster on Netflix. Movie review. Actually, I was watching Startup, and when I saw the monster thing, I was like, oh, that's Tui. So he played the son to Ronald Dacey in Startup. So Jeffrey Wright, Jennifer Hudson play the parents to this young man who wants to be a filmmaker. Dad's an artistic person. I want to say in Harlem. And a character played by A$AP Rocky, I believe, basically kind of befriends him, because he's taking pictures, in the neighborhood, and basically puts him in a bad spot. And that bad spot lands him in prison. And now him and A$AP Rocky's character are basically in prison and on trial for a crime. So he's the kid from the good house. A$AP Rocky, I'm tripping, is, one of the neighborhood kids who's in the street. He was giving him game, but it looks to be like he was setting them up all at the same time. Then they got two other characters. Somebody who was probably his big bro in the streets, who probably set this whole situation in motion, and a younger kid. And basically, you got two characters who basically turn state's evidence to get lesser charges on A$AP Rocky's character. And I forget the young man who plays Tui. The picture's up, so I'm sorry, brother. I am so sorry. I'm serious. I apologize. So he winds up being on the back end of, he winds up being an accessory because of the situation. Spoiler alert, they actually made him a lookout without him. They made him a lookout in a sense, and him not necessarily know. So they kind of pressed him before they committed this crime, and he's like, "What the hell going on?" And they so they like, "You just go do it." So come to find out, they basically committed a robbery and a homicide, and he's like, "Man, it's So he goes to jail for this because, the two of the guys that got caught turned on this kid, and it was like weird. So, but the bigger aspect of this movie is how law works, in a sense of it's all a dog and pony show. It doesn't have to be about evidence. We already knew that. There's a good scene with the lawyer, like, look, you're young, you're black, you're in court. They already said you were guilty when they saw you. So you have to give them something to make them feel like you're not guilty, So evidence basically is supposed to make people feel like you're not guilty. But people's perceptions of how everything goes is interesting, because a witness can be there, oh, he did it because he was there, and I think he was doing a certain signal or gesture to say blah 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 blah. And one of the things was they asked him to have a signal. He did, but he didn't. He walked out of the store, he kind of looked up, like trying to be filmmaker, and he walk off. So they took that as a signal. But when they pressed him to go in, they just like, hey, go. He's like, for what? When he asked him for what, they didn't tell him. They yanked his bike and was like, look, we're going to be right here. I'm like, oh, okay. So getting back to the law part, you saw how the prosecutor did a lot of acting, This guy's a monster. This guy's a monster. These people need to be off the streets. They killed an innocent person, and look at him. He's got to be. So it was all of that invoking the birth of a nation type of response from a jury of your peers, where, yeah, he was alive and he was there and he's black, so he's got to be deep down a killer. Yeah, got to be a killer. He probably walked on the man's grave, and because that's what they do. They were listening to that rap music. Yeah. So it shows how easy, the old term that you can indict a ham sandwich, It shows how easy you can pick a jury to convict anybody of anything, as long as it's a jury of your peers that look nothing like you. You know, because the um, the verdict is already in the jury itself, because all you got to do is pick the type of people who you feel like have, that you can see that they have bias, that they can hide their bias, that they can hide their ability to be objective. So for me, that's what I took from the movie. And to do that, you're going to need, to change that dynamic, you're going to need, I forgot his name, Matthew McConaughey. And what I mean by Matthew McConaughey is you're going to need Matthew McConaughey in A Time to Kill with Samuel L. Jackson. You're going to need a white person to come along and say, white people, this is not the man I know. White people, it's not like this. Let me talk white people to you white people. This monster isn't really a monster. They go, okay. Jimmy's a good kid. Jimmy said the monster isn't a monster. This Negro, well, we've got him his court slave papers. So this is his master. So it's kind of that ideology that comes out of it. And ultimately what the family goes through and what the person goes through. And Nas was in it also. And his role was cool because he was a person in jail who knew that a kid didn't belong in jail. So he was trying to help a kid stay alive while he was going through the process, which there are brothers like that who look out for people. And they don't get enough credit. So I appreciate Nas doing that. And if you've seen any kind of prison movie depiction, you've seen a character like Nas's before. So they try to actually make that a staple. But overall, good movie. Watch it if you get a chance. So I'm out. Like, share, subscribe, but die trying. Peace.